happened on a rainy Friday night. The clock on the wall read exactly 10 p.m. Jack had the entire house to himself while his parents were driving to another city for a family gathering. They promised that they'd be back before midnight. Before leaving, his mother looked him in the eyes and said, "Keep every door locked. If someone knocks, don't open it unless you know it's us." Jack smiled and nodded. At 17 years old, he thought those warnings were meant for little kids. As soon as they left, he made himself some popcorn, grabbed a horror novel, and sat in the living room. Rain tapped against the windows while the wind made the trees outside sway back and forth. Everything felt normal until the house became strangely quiet. The television had been playing softly in the background, but suddenly it lost signal. The screen turned black. Even the sound of the rain seemed to disappear. Jack looked around. The silence didn't feel natural. Trying to ignore the uneasy feeling, he walked around the house one last time. Every window was locked. Every door was secure. He even checked the back door twice. Nothing seemed unusual. Feeling a little embarrassed for scaring himself, he laughed and headed upstairs to his bedroom. The second he reached the hallway, the lights flickered. Then, everything went dark. The power was gone. The house was swallowed by complete darkness. Jack immediately reached for his phone. The battery was dead. No way. He had forgotten to charge it. The only flashlight in the house was usually kept in his parents' bedroom. Using only the faint moonlight coming through the hallway window, he slowly walked toward their room. Every step echoed through the empty house. He searched every drawer. Nothing. He checked the nightstands. Nothing. He opened the closet. Still nothing. The flashlight had disappeared. Then, Jack froze. A few seconds later, someone was standing at the front door. Jack slowly walked downstairs. His heartbeat was getting louder with every step. He looked through the peephole. Standing on the porch was his next-door neighbor, John. John smiled and waved. "Hey, Jack, my car broke down. Can you open the door for a second?" Jack relaxed. He had known John for years, but just as he reached for the lock, something stopped him. Earlier that afternoon, Jack had watched John load camping gear into his truck. John, his wife, and their kids had left for a weekend camping trip. Jack even remembered waving goodbye. So, he was standing outside. The person knocked again, this time harder. "Jack, I know you're in there." His voice sounded almost perfect. Almost. Jack stayed silent. Then the man outside laughed. It was a strange laugh. Too slow. Too deep. Almost like someone trying to imitate the sound of a human. Jack looked through the peephole again. John was still standing there, except he wasn't blinking. Not once. His smile slowly became wider until it stretched far beyond what any human face should allow. Jack stumbled backward. The knocking suddenly became violent. The entire front door shook. "Open the door." The voice no longer sounded like John. It sounded like several voices speaking at the same time. Some were deep, some were high, some sounded like whispers directly inside Jack's ears. Then, everything stopped. No knocking, no wind, no rain, just silence. Slowly, he walked back toward the peephole. The porch was empty. Relieved, he leaned against the wall. Then, a whisper came from behind him. "Wrong door." Jack spun around. Nobody was there. His breathing became faster. Jack knew he was alone. At least, he was supposed to be. The footsteps stopped directly above him. Something was standing in the hallway upstairs, watching. Then bright headlights suddenly filled the living room. A car pulled into the driveway. His parents. The moment the headlights hit the front porch, every strange sound vanished. His parents rushed inside. "Jack, the entire neighborhood lost power. Are you all right?" Jack could barely speak. He pointed toward the staircase. His father grabbed a flashlight from the emergency kit in the car and searched every room. No one was inside. Every window was still locked. Every door was still locked. There was no sign that anyone had entered the house. Then his mother opened the front door. There were muddy footprints leading from the sidewalk to the porch. Only one set. They stopped directly in front of the door. There were no footprints leading away. Jack never stayed home alone again. Years later, after telling the story to an elderly man who had lived in the neighborhood for decades, the old man quietly smiled and said, "It wasn't pretending to be your neighbor. It was waiting for permission to come inside. So remember, if you're home alone late at night and someone knocks on your door, don't trust the voice, don't trust the face, and whatever you do, don't open the door."